Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, friends, family, and other random passers-by, because today we are playing Appointment with Fear, Fighting Fantasy Gamebook number 17 for the third time. The first few times, I think I made a mistake by trying to follow pretty much the same path. I knew that I got some of the major clues by following in it, but by not veering off that path, of course, I don't learn much about where to find the rest of the clues and what the right path is. So even at the risk of early defeat, I should go different paths today. Now, just to quick recap, or for somebody who doesn't know this book, in this book, unlike most of the others in the series, you are playing a comic book style superhero like Batman or Superman. And you have a superpower like super strength or technological skill like Batman has, and which is completely unusual and quite cool. And it's got references to other sort of superhero franchises, sometimes very subtly in street names, for instance. Like there's a Clark Street, there's a Parker. There was something with Peter Parker, something with it, yeah, with the Parker Airport, and yeah, I don't know, I can't remember exactly. Anyway, there are different references to superhero things, and of course, I only know some of them because I'm not a huge superhero fan, really. I mean, I've sort of enjoyed Superman and Batman a little bit for a while. That's it, really. That's about the limit of my superhero knowledge. Anyway, also like the Phantom. You don't get many references to the Phantom these days, do you? Anyway, right, so I followed too much the same path the first few times. Today I'm going to go a different path. Let's see what happens. So, good old transition is back, by the way, so I'll be ready in a few moments on my desk. Boom. Okay, there we are, ready on my desk, and the good old transition is back because today I'm using two cameras, and one of them is not a webcam, one of them is a proper camera, which means that the picture now on my desk is going to be so much sharper and has a better color as well than what you might be used to. I'm doing this as a sort of a pilot today because, I mean, I have done this before with that camera, and it does have the added hassle of the early noughties EU rule that a stills camera cannot do video more than half an hour in one go. That was a limitation that was put on cameras in Europe for almost 2 decades. It is extremely annoying if you're trying to create videos, but I think it might still be worth it because of the extra quality, and of course now I'm used to editing video a lot more. I think it will be less annoying for me to sort that out. So there will be a small little sort of glitch maybe, or my picture will jump because there's a cut every half hour, because I will have to edit it, of course. But of course I don't do the usual jump cuts that lots of YouTubers use these days every few seconds in the middle of sentences, which is extremely annoying, and maybe I'll make a video about how annoying that is one day. But I'm going to have to cut it every half hour or so, but that's not a big issue, I think. So let's get started. So I got my map from last time, page 1, 2, and 3. I do not have my blue pen for some reason. I don't know where that is now, but I'll have to make do with black, red, and green, I guess. Got my book. I do not have a cup of tea today, I'm afraid. So the weird thing is, I had one before I started. Yeah, I know. It's a timing issue, really, so I do apologize for anyone who's watching this show just to see me drink tea. How weird are you? Anyway, right. Well, it's sort of a trademark thing, isn't it, for me to have a cup of tea when I'm playing this game. Anyway, let's get started. We have... let's get our character sheet going. So we have skill, stamina, and a luck. And also there is a hero, what do you call it again? Hero points. Hero points. which is sort of your comparable score. So when you do something heroic, that is heroic in the sense that not only is it a good thing and a heroic thing, but also other people see you do it. So it's like a sort of a reputation, heroic reputation score. If you do something really heroic and nobody knows about it, it doesn't count. So it actually is specified in the text that that is the case. Right, let's just rule our abilities. So we've got skill 1, and that's fine because I'm going with super strength, so in a moment that will change. Stamina 7, so that's 19, not great. And luck is 11. So that's exactly the kind of scores I want, really, because I'm going to choose super strength as my superpower, and my skill will go up to 13. So actually it's a good thing almost that I don't have a lot of skill to start with, because it doesn't feel like I'm wasting the ability. So let's just go through the there's sort of a beginning before the beginning in this book, because it has to do with the superpowers. So I'll just read through that. So you are, am I in the right place in the shot? Yes, I think so. You are Jean Lafayette, or Jean Lafayette, possibly, the product of a dangerous but successful genetic experiment. Although seemingly normal as a child, it became apparent in your early teens that you were a far from ordinary human being. You are gifted with a superhuman power which you have sworn to use only for the benefit of your fellow man. As a Silver Crusader, you are well known to the population of Titan City. Most people admire you, some distrust you, but all members of the underworld fear you. Only your parents, who are both dead, ever knew your real identity and the origin of your powers. In the adventures ahead, you will begin with one of 4 powers. During your daily activities and encounters with disasters and super criminals, you will have 2 objectives. First, you must learn the whereabouts of the secret meeting of F.E.A.R, the Federation of Euro-American Rebels, which is due to take place within the next few days. This dangerous alliance of master criminals and enemy agents is planning to overthrow the governments of the Western world and establish their own rule. Secondly, you may assess your own performance as a superhero by trying to gain as many hero points as possible. Before you start each adventure, you may choose which superpower to start with from the 4 powers listed below. You will also start the game with knowledge of 2 clues. Following the description of each superpower, you will find instructions on where to find your clues, which are hidden in the text of the adventure. Before you turn to reference 1 to start your adventure, choose your superpower, locate and read the clues, and enter the information on your adventure sheet. So I have to choose a superpower, and that affects what my starting clues are. So this is part of how the game is actually different depending on what superpower you have. So I will go with super strength. You have the strength of many men. The muscles of your immensely powerful legs and arms bulge through the fabric of your costume, which presumably is spandex. They are developed to the point of perfection, and in combat situations, you always fight with a skill of 13. So 13. You also have a power to fly through the air at any speed you wish, which sometimes leads to some continuity errors or sort of things that don't make sense, because you could have just flown there at whatever speed you wished. But that aside, that's fine, because it's a compromise, I guess, from having the 4 different superpowers available to you, that the book has to be structured in a way for the sections that are common for all the superpowers that wouldn't be the case, or the book would have been a lot longer. It's still more than 400 paragraphs, by the way. It is 440 paragraphs, this one, which is unusual. Right. This allows you to hover unsupported above the ground, or to chase and catch up with the fastest jet, which is something that I've done before. To find the first of your clues, turn to reference 127. For your other clue, you may choose one from the following. So I've got a choice of 3 different ones, but I'll start with 127. So let's see, 1, 2, 7. The Scarlet Prankster, a fun-loving criminal who delights in playing practical jokes on his unsuspecting victims, has found a new home, and one most befitting his sense of humor. Of course, he lives in the funhouse in Disneyland. When you are in the vicinity of his new residence and are given the opportunity to look for him, subtract 50 from the reference you are on at the time and turn to this new reference to find him. That's the clue. And it's quite a clever one, actually, I think, because it's not too much sort of in your face, I guess. But when you get to the reference in the book, you will know what you are looking for. Right, so we have the Scarlet Prankster. And I'll put minus 50 for the reference. And then I go back to the beginning. And also I need to get some water because this is quite thirsty work, isn't it? All this talking that's going to be taking place over the next few hours. Right. Second clue, you may choose one from the following. So the last time I chose 108. I'm going to do a different one this time. So I'm going to go with 312 instead. So the president is due to pay a visit to Titan City. Oh, that's interesting. Rumors are going round that an attempt will be made on his life when he arrives. It would be wise to find out how this attempt will be made. Both Marcus Buletta and Ratface Flanagan know how the attempt will be made. That's it. That's the clue. Okay, so we are looking for so president. I know there was an assassination attempt or of the president because I've experienced that in another playthrough, but of course I couldn't do much about it. This may help me do something about it, which will be nice. So we have Marcus Buletta and Ratface Flanagan are the ones I have to look for. So those are my two clues. Let's see. So okay. Right. So I am then going to paragraph 1. As you walk the 10 blocks to work that morning, you can't help but feel that something is not quite right. You stop by a telephone booth to consider what it could be. The sounds of the city are the usual 8 a.m. cacophony. Cars and buses bounce past along Clark Street, the drivers too sleepy even to try to avoid the pits and bumps in the road. A newspaper vendor bawls an incomprehensible headline, something about a robbery. At the crowds of men and women milling past him on their ways to work. Overhead in the sky, the rhythmic beating of a traffic copter's blades fades into the distance. An argument is taking place between an elderly businessman and an overlarge woman with an untrained dog, whose sidewalk deposits have offended the businessman. There is nothing unusual. Or is there? The difference is only barely perceptible, but there is a distinct air of tension in the streets. There are nervous twitches in the eyes of the passers-by. The cars are accelerating and braking in a jittery manner. Little things like that. To your heightened senses, the atmosphere is pregnant. Today will not be just another day. Your thoughts are broken by the high-pitched wailing of a police siren. A yellow and black Cougar GS screeches round the corner and leaps ahead through the Clark Street traffic before swinging left into Audubon Park. Behind it, the traffic settles back into its regular flow. Your attention drifts back to the argument. A small crowd is built up around the man and woman. Raised voices are taking one side or the other, and the situation is beginning to look nasty. What will you do next? Go over and see if you can break up the argument. Run after the police car into Audubon Park. Buy a newspaper to find out about the robbery, or ignore all these incidents and go to work. So, before I have gone to Audubon Park, I did have a glance at the argument thing as well, didn't I? Robbery. You know what? I'm going to try something highly original this time. I am going to go to work. Yes, that's right. I'm going to take the boring option and see what happens because, well, you do actually piss off your boss quite a bit by not showing up for work most days. So let's go to work and see because that probably would give me some clues as well. I would imagine because otherwise it would be a waste of an option, wouldn't it? I would hope. Anyway, 341. So I'm going to do the late again. Oh, yes, it looks like you're late regardless, actually. Late again. You creep past. Why am I late? Because I just went to work. I was on my way to work. Oh, that's not fair, is it? Does that mean that, I don't know, that regardless of what I do, I'm going to be late for work? Oh well. Late again. You creep past the office of your boss, Jonah White, hoping he will not notice. But no such luck. His voice booms out at you. Lafayette, in my office immediately. Sheepishly, you leave your desk and creep in to see him. A stream of abuse follows. In his eyes, you are lazy, shiftless, incompetent. Suddenly, a squeal of tires in the street below, followed by a loud crash, interrupts him, and the two of you rush to the window. A crowd is gathering around a large black limousine, which has spun around in the road, mounted the sidewalk, and crashed into a street lamp. And that's quite a nice illustration there as well. And I like how the illustrations are comic book style with frames and things like that. It's very nice. A fire has started in the rear of the car and is spreading. Do you wish to run downstairs in your street clothes or nip into the toilet? Ah, yeah, Steve Jackson does like to use the word nip. Nip into the... I like that too, actually. I'm a big fan of the word nip. It's such a lovely word. So he's going to nip into the toilet to change into the Silver Crusader. Alternatively, you may ignore the incident and go back to work. Okay, so there's only so long you can ignore incidents and go back to work, I think. So probably should do this one. Right, so we have three options, really. So I'm going to put them down here where there's definitely space. Do like so. So we have 23 Silver Crusader. 102 street clothes. Let's put street there. Or 167 ignore again. I'm going to nip into the toilet, turn into the Silver Crusader, and see if anything can be done. So, as the Silver Crusader, you step out towards the limousine. The police have cleared the crowd back to a safe distance. 2 ambulances and a fire engine have arrived. The situation seems to be under control, but the spread of the fire is a little worrying. It is heading towards the tank. The 2 men inside the car, the chauffeur and his passenger, look thoroughly shaken. Will you use your superpowers to aid the men, or will you wait to see how the fire brigade do first? Yeah, leaving the emergency services to do their own job? How preposterous. Right, of course I'm going to help out and see if I can save them. Okay, so, right, I am... I mean, if I'm going to wait for the emergency services to do their job, what's the point of being a superhero? I might as well just do my normal job and just get on with that. Right. So 244 or 366. Aid or wait. So I'm going to aid the men. 366. If you have ETS, I forgot to mention the other superpowers, but there is one where you are sort of a psychic, that you can read people's minds, even animals sometimes, and you can also do minor telekinesis, which is moving objects with your mind, for those who don't know. And then there is, you can create a power blast you can sort of channel energy through your fingertips and create a power blast. And then there is technological skill, enhanced technological skill, ETS, which means you are very good at creating gadgets and things like that. You can imagine like Batman, for instance, has all these sort of fancy gadgets. In addition to what is really a minor superpower in terms of physical ability for Batman. So yeah, but if you have super strength, which is what I've got, I'm going to 137, otherwise 267. So we have 3 options. So we have superpower, or super strength rather, 137, strength, 205 ETS, or 267. None. I'll just put none. Okay. So, super strength 137 is my paragraph. Let's see what happens. Grasping. I'm really sorry, by the way. You probably hear this in the recording, but my tummy is making strange noises, so I do apologize for that. This microphone that I'm using really picks up that sound really well. So yeah, no, it is what it is. Okay, so sorry about that. Grasping the door by its frame, you heave it off its hinges. You grab both passengers and lift them away to safety. The man in the back, a middle-aged man in a fur-coloured overcoat, wearing an expensive-looking silver watch, is suffering from shock. He is delirious. As you lift him out of the car, he is mumbling incoherent bits of sentences. F.E.A.R summit. Must make meeting. Opposite number 35. Mustn't forget. You hand him over to the ambulance men to take care of him. And just in time, as the fire hits the tank and the car explodes, your duty done. No, sorry. And just in time, as the fire hits the tank and the car explodes. Your duty done, you may now nip off. Nipping again. Yes, there we are. Nip off to change clothes and return to work. For your brave rescue, you may add 2 hero points. So, hero points 2. So that is a clue. So we have opposite number 35. So not number 35, but opposite number 35. Interesting. Okay, so opposite number 35 is my clue. So that's actually my first F.E.A.R summit clue. Right, turn to 398. So, and here we have, I should mark this with, usually I mark this in blue, but I'm going to mark it in green today. So we have, there is a clue. And so that's opposite number 35. Okay. Where am I going? 398, yes, 398. Is there a 398 anywhere else? I don't think so. So I'm going to make a 398 there on my map. Let's see what happens next. And just give it 2 seconds. It looks like I need to do my camera. There we are. Okay. Right. Under the watchful eye of your boss, you complete the morning's work. At lunchtime, you take a corner booth at El Greco's, a cheap diner on the next block. While you are eating, a chattering group of boffin types scramble into the booth next to yours. They are trying to keep their voices down. But their obvious excitement allows you to catch the gist of their conversation. That's not a nice word, gist. They are from the local university's science laboratory. Well, I think the man's a fool, says one. If he mixes the aldehyde in at that temperature, there could be an almighty explosion. Ah, yes, in my previous playthroughs there has been an explosion in the laboratory, but I didn't know what was going on. Maybe you're right, says another. He's a stubborn old jackass. He'd never admit it was dangerous. I know one thing, we are much safer out here. You think? No, that's not right again. You think? That's the right tone. People, just an aside now. You know how people, when they talk about how learning Chinese, for instance, is so difficult because it is tonal. Most people who say that, they don't realize that they're already speaking a highly tonal language, which is English. The only difference is that the tones in English are usually on the sentence level, and of course you use them on word level to emphasize things, whereas in Chinese the tones are on at syllable level. But otherwise English is extremely tonal, and the tones do actually change the meaning completely, potentially, in English. So yeah, so we already know tones. We just don't think of them in the same way, and also people don't even realize that English is a tonal language. Yeah. Okay. Just an aside there. I like my little asides. Okay, so where was I again? Yes. You think? Sounds ominous. Perhaps you'd better check it out. The group's security passes identify them as being from the biochemistry department, only a block away. You pay your bill and leave quickly. Halfway there, you stop. From within the shop you are passing, a cry reaches you. Stop! Thief! Will you investigate this call for help, or do you think stopping a potential explosion is a much more important task? These tough choices. Actually, this makes you sort of realize, doesn't it, how hard a job it is to be a superhero, because you're torn between all these different things that happen at the same time, and you have to prioritize them. That can be so stressful. It's like doing triage all the time. Right. And for those who don't know, triage, if you are dealing with medical emergencies where you have to prioritize patients based on severity of injuries or illness or condition, I should say, you have to sort them out to prioritize them as the ones who need immediate attention, the ones who can wait a little bit, and the ones who are not a priority at all. And also, of course, in dire situations, the ones who might be possible to treat, but the chances of survival are so low that your resources might be better used helping someone else. That's your sort of wartime triage thing. So that's triage. It's prioritizing patients in a medical emergency. Not just emergency, but you also call it that if somebody phones to the doctor in the morning and saying I've got these and that symptoms, and they will say that we'll call an ambulance right away, or we will see you today because we have to see you today, or this can wait, I'll give you an appointment in 2 weeks. That's also triage. Anyway, so yeah, superhero has to triage the incidents that happen around him and prioritize what he's going to deal with first. Now, the explosion sounds like it actually is more important than stopping a thief, but then of course the thief thing might actually be something more important that just isn't obvious on the surface of it. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I'll just do my mapping first, and then we'll see where we get on. Okay, so we have 256, thief. Oh, it started snowing outside. I was wondering, because it's been raining all morning and it's been quite heavy rain, so I could actually hear it, but then suddenly it got quiet. And I was wondering, why is it quiet? Has it stopped raining? And then I looked out and it actually hasn't stopped. It's just turned into snow instead. Yeah, I'm not sure which I prefer now. Looks really damp and cold anyway. Right. Sorry, I'm getting distracted today. Right, so we have a thief or the lab. So 144 lab. I'm going to go for the lab, actually. I'll leave the thief for another day. Ooh, another nice panel here. Very nice artwork, I must say. The artwork in this book, by the way, is by, let's see, Declan Considine. Now, that's a nice name. Declan Considine. Would you know? Yeah. Actually, it's interesting now that I'm seeing these, because I've had two really nice illustrations now, and on my previous playthroughs I haven't actually seen that many illustrations. I'm not sure if they're lower. I think I just haven't been in the right paragraphs. Maybe that means I followed the wrong path. If I followed the right path, maybe there are more illustrations. Maybe this is a better path than the one I've been before. I don't know yet. You change into the Silver Crusader and head for the biochemistry department. There are no signs of panic. Everything seems just like any other day. And how would you know? Have you been there before on any other day? Anyway, you make inquiries and find out that Professor Murdoch is working on aldehyde experiments on the top floor. When you reach his laboratory, the professor is sweating profusely. "Crusader," he says, "relieved to see you. My experiment has got out of hand. The temperature is building up. I fear I may have caused a disaster." In the corner of the lab, a complicated array of chemical equipment is shuddering. At one end, a bottle is boiling madly. If you have ETS, turn to 295, otherwise turn to 339. Okay, so that is... So this is where ETS would have been highly useful, I guess. So 295 ETS again, and 339. No ETS. Okay. What will you do to prevent the bottle exploding? Will you throw it out of the window, smother it with your hands, or rush off to look for a fire extinguisher? Now, seeing as I've got a super strength and can fly at any speed I wish, this shouldn't really be too hard, but I don't think this section is specifically made for someone with super strength now. So, but let's see, I'll just put up the options now. 1, 2, and 3. So 269 window, which will still be quite a bad explosion and blow out all the windows in a 3-mile radius or something. 426, smother with your hands. That sounds like a terrible idea. Or rush off to look for a fire extinguisher, which is really bizarre because this is a chemistry lab. There would be fire extinguishers everywhere. Anyway, you wouldn't do an experiment like that without a fire extinguisher on hand. Not realistic, but this is superhero fantasy world. Nothing is realistic in a superhero fantasy world. Like, for instance, the fact that you still got a job when you run off work all the time because you're being a superhero. So fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher. You know what? I've got super strength. Maybe if I smother it with my hands, that will actually work for me. I'm going to try that, even though it sounds like a terrible idea. 426, past 400 there. And that is a terrible idea. Like a true hero, you grasp the bottle between your hands and try to smother the explosion, but the bottle is boiling hot. You scream in pain as it burns your hands badly. You must lose 2 skill points and must now decide whether to fling the bottle through an open window. Turn to 269, but you need not lose another skill point, or rush off to look for a fire extinguisher. Okay, that is definitely the wrong thing to do then. Well, fun to have tried, I say. Okay, so -2 skill. Okay, so that is a terrible idea. Do not do that. So that is 11. Okay. Let's do the fire extinguisher in that case. Let's see if this is how unrealistic this is now. You run down the hallway looking for a fire extinguisher. There is not one to be seen. See? Unrealistic. Finally, you find one in an empty room and bring it back into the lab. You break the seal and point it at the boiling bottle. Nothing happens. Check the instructions and realize that the extinguisher has not been serviced for 2 years. It's getting even less realistic now. You try the next floor down and return with a functioning extinguisher, but as you arrive back in the lab, a wide smile is spread across Professor Murdoch's face. "Look," he beams. "The temperature is dropping. The danger is over. The bottle has stopped its furious bubbling and seems to be cooling down." Relieved that the danger is past, you leave the building and head for home. Turn to 18. So basically, it sounds like whatever you do here, it's not going to help you at all. If you throw it out the window, it's probably going to explode and make things worse. So I should have gone for the thief, is the conclusion, I think. So if in this situation, again, probably going for the thief is a good idea. So, right. 18. Have I got an 18 on my map? I can't see one. I'll just do one up here. 18. Okay. What a day. Now, didn't I have a... It's the end of day 1 already. No, doesn't look like I got a number 18. Okay. What a day. You slump into a chair in front of the TV and relax with a long, cold drink. You may add 6 stamina points. I haven't lost any. For the rest. One thing disturbs you. Your boss, Jonah White, will be livid when you turn up for work tomorrow. Will he? You will have to invent... okay, this is a little bit unrealistic based on the fact that you actually did go to work the first day, but okay then. You will have to invent some pretty convincing excuses. The next morning, you set off to work early. This time you will travel by subway to make sure you get to work on time. But since when has a superhero's life ever been easy? Help, shouts a voice further up the crowded carriage. Pickpocket. Oh no, hang on. I just remembered, actually I forgot to read the background now, didn't I? Yeah, okay. Well, I've got the background in previous videos, so if you want to know what happens there, because I just realized that I've not mentioned the crime watch. So you actually got a watch on your wrist that is a two-way communicator that tells you you can get messages, and there's even a speaking voice on it, very fancy electronic voice though, and you can communicate with the police and with Jerry the Grass, who is one of your informants from the underworld. Right, so but since when has a superhero's life ever been easy? Help, shouts a voice further up the crowded carriage. Pickpocket. Oh no, just what you needed. Hang on, this looks very familiar. Haven't I seen this before? Or maybe it's the same, because sometimes what they do in these books is something is meant to be slightly different, so they have almost like a copy-pasted paragraph, but it is slightly different. Pickpocket. Okay, so this is probably the same as paragraph 10 in a way, or it's parallel to... Yeah. So this number 18 here is almost the same as paragraph 10. So I'll just put a little dotted line between them just to show that they're connected in the timeline. So they're parallel paragraphs. Oh no, just what you needed. You force your way through the crowd on the busy train. As you reach the pickpocket's victim, that familiar beep, beep, beep sounds from your crime watch. So that's like an Apple Watch, basically, just 25 years earlier. This electronic voice speaks. Cowfield Dairy. Fast. Cowfield Dairy. That's not the same as in number 10, is it? Hey. It's a different... the crime watch telling me something different than this one. That is interesting. Okay. Cowfield Dairy. Fast. Typical. Another dilemma. The train stops at a station only a block away from Cowfield Dairy. Will you leap out and see what is happening there? Or will you instead aid the pickpocket's victim? So, then that means I got the option of going to 369, the dairy, or 185 for the pickpocket, which is the same paragraph as I got up here. Okay, I'm missing some arrows here. Now, if I do the pickpocket, I know that there is a clue to, but I don't, well, last time it might be a fake clue though. or certainly because I had an option of picking one of 3 clues. And last time I picked a map, and it seemed the map reference was not the correct one for what I wanted. So it may just be that the whole scenario with a pickpocket is a red herring. I don't know. But I'm quite curious about the dairy, I must say. Because I haven't been there before. I don't know what's happening there. So I'm going to go to the dairy. At least I know that the pickpocket, that there are 3 possible clues, and that one of the other ones might actually be the right one. Right, so I've got another nice illustration here. Very nice. You change in a convenient alley and head for the dairy. When you arrive at the gates, everything seems to be in order. Milk floats are returning from their daily rounds, and thousands of bottles are chinking their way along conveyors. There is no sign of danger. A short-tailed tabby cat, no doubt a stray, is trying to get in through the gates. Now, this is something that I believe I got a clue for when accidentally, because this is a clue that belongs to another superpower, but the first time I played it I looked up the wrong reference, and there was a reference to some sort of Catwoman character. And yeah, anyway. No doubt a stray is trying to get in through the gates. You pick the hungry creature up and stroke it. As you wait, your eye catches a familiar-looking figure turning the corner and walking towards you. It is Chainsaw Bronski, a well-known murderer who you thought was well behind bars. Will you apprehend the villain, or does your first duty lie with the needy, and will you instead take the cat to a cat's home? Oh, the priorities that cats make you do. Huh? Okay, so that's quite funny, actually. I mean, it's prioritizing saving the cat to sorting out the murderer. Right. I suppose it makes sense because the cat is also not what she appears, possibly. 278 or 3. So Bronski or cat. I'm gonna take the cat to a cat's home because that is the odd thing out. And also that makes it more interesting to see what actually happens. The cat's home is not far from the dairy. As if it senses where it is going, the little animal squirms to get free. It fights and scratches in your grip. It seems to be getting heavier. So this is where suddenly a remarkable transformation takes place. You drop the cat to the ground, and before your eyes it grows in size and takes on a female human form, until it stands before you as the Tiger Cat. That's the Catwoman character. Of course, this wicked she-villain has a record of robbing dairies and fish factories. That is funny as well. Her tight, tiger-striped costume has sharp claws at the hands and feet, and she springs at you. If you have psi powers, turn to 413. If you have ETS, turn to 168. You have no time to use an energy bolt. Okay, so we are fighting skill 9, stamina 8, and we have further options for 1, let's see, 2, 3. Okay, so 413 psi, 168 ETS, or 124 is defeating the Tiger Cat. Right, so that is my first fight, and of course I've already lost a bit of skill from being completely reckless and stupid. Oh well, what can you do? So I let's see, 9, 8, and I've got 11, 19. I've got only 2 skill point advantage. She rolls an 8, I roll an 8. She's down to 6, 7, and 6. She's down to 4, 5, and 12, and she's down to 2. And of course, in this book, a special rule, you are not allowed to kill people. So when you reduce someone to stamina 2 or 1, then you knock them unconscious, and that's when you can take them to the authorities. So that's it. 2 is as low as you go. But she's a supervillain, which means I will get more hero points probably. So maybe. So 124, I have defeated her, and she might also have a clue to the meeting, which is great. You had the tiger cat in at police headquarters. You may add 2 hero points for this arrest. So we've got 4 hero points now, and I should see if I can find actually how many points I got last time. This is the right place to look. It is possible I actually use the piece of paper for something else. Yeah, no, I don't. It's not here actually. Oh well. Never mind. I can just look in my video. Look at my video and find out. That's easy. Okay. The police sergeant at the desk is puzzling over a piece of paper which has been handed in by a little old lady. She thinks it might be important. He lets you have a look at it, thinking it might be a clue. It reads, "Watch for the sign of the man-trapper. A metal slug with the letter M engraved on it." So I'm getting a new clue now. So, man-trapper. M. Metal slug. This is a useful clue, and you may add 1 luck point. Haven't lost any luck. If you find evidence of the man-trapper's activities, add 60 to the reference. So it is a plus 60 is how I write down my clues now. So paragraph plus 60. Turn to 67. Okay, so we have here clue M. I'll put there, and I'll put a nice green thing there. Clue. And then we are going to 67. Okay, 67. You must start thinking about getting back to work. Well, how silly is that? Going back to work. Outside it is starting to rain. Just your luck. Head for work by turning to 111. If you don't know of anywhere else to go. Okay, so this is obviously there's a clue here that I don't know about. So you must start thinking about getting back to work. Outside it is starting to rain. Head for work. So there's something about the rain, presumably, that is a clue as well. So I don't know what that clue is. But just like the other clues I've had now, that means that I would have known something about something happening with the rain, and then I was supposed to add or subtract a number from this paragraph to go somewhere. Anyway, so I am going back to work, and do I have 111 on my map anywhere? It does not appear so. So I will go to 111, and also I will make a note on my map that there is a secret paragraph connected to this one as well. I just don't know what the clue is. So I quite like that mechanic, actually. You change back into street clothes and get a move on. You are late for work again, of course. You turn the corner onto Clark Street and stop as you pass Harold's department store. A thought has crossed your mind. You could stop and buy your boss a present of some kind to apologize for being late. But then this would make you even later. Is it worth it? If you wish to go in and look for a suitable gift, turn to 429. If you want to get to work as quickly as possible, turn to 301. Yes, giving him presents. Well, that seems a bit somehow. Although this might actually be the gateway to another clue, who knows? Right, so So either go to work as quickly as possible, work, or 429 gift. Okay, I'm gonna gift. I'm gonna go and have a look for gifts because there might be another clue in there somewhere. I'm not worried about work anyway. I think basically you're a bit screwed when it comes to work. What can you get him? An apple, a bottle of whiskey, a new tie? You decide to go for something a little more imaginative. Do you want to head downstairs to the book department or upstairs to the games department? Right. So 42 books or 355 games. Right, as an added twist, my memory card on my camera, my overhead camera, actually ran out. So I may have lost a little bit of footage there. I will keep track of that next time so it doesn't happen again. Oh well. Anyway, I think we'll be okay. It occurs to me I should have used the webcam as a backup, but oh well, never mind. Right, so we are deciding whether to go to the book department or the games department, and I think I shall go to the games department first of all. Right. Another interesting panel here. There must be something he'd like. No doubt he's already got Monopoly. What about this? Trivial Pursuit. Looks interesting. Or how about Dungeons and Dragons? He probably hasn't got the imagination. As you're perusing the games, 4 bikers walk in ripped jeans and dirty leather jackets. Trouble. Stereotyping as well. You watch them from the corner of your eye. They are in the women's underwear department and are holding bras up to their chests and laughing. How childish. A middle-aged woman comes over to stop them, and an assistant manager steps in to help. Tempers rise. Just when you are wondering whether or not to join in, one of the bikers throws his jacket to the floor. He clasps his hands together, and to the horror of the unsuspecting floor staff, he bursts into flames. The others do likewise, and 4 flaming bodies stomp about the shop, setting fire to everything they touch. The Fire Warriors. Of course. Why did you not recognize those no-good delinquents earlier? You had better act quickly. If you have super strength... Okay, so... turn to 133. If you have psi-powers, turn to 178. If you have ETS, turn to 156. If you have energy blast, turn to 283. Okay, so... 1, 2, 3, 4 options. And it looks like, despite my best efforts, it may be a tight map after all. Of course, these options here, if I get back to them, will be on that side, but still a better map than many of my earlier ones. I'm thinking Scorpion Swamp and things like that. It's legible still. So 133 strength, 178 psi, 156 ETS, or 283 blast. I'll put energy blast. So basically now all the superpowers will have some effect. It seems like, although some of them might not work that well. Oh, snow is settling as well. Right. So, super strength 133. You jump over the counter and change quickly into the Silver Crusader. You will have to be careful not to stay too close to the Fire Warriors, as their flames will burn you. Perhaps just your presence will be enough to frighten them away. You spring out and order them to stop their foolishness. Stop your foolishness, you foolish fools. And leave the store. They merely laugh at you. That didn't work. There's only one thing left for it. You will have to fight them. So see, it doesn't always help sort of going up to someone and saying, you are being very, very naughty. Stop it. Okay. Right, so I am fighting them, and that means let's see, 7. Oh, well, why am I doing a new paragraph? It's here. So 7, 6, 6, 6, 7, 5, 7, 5. One at a time. Okay, but there are special rules, it looks like, as well. So let's see, 7, 6, 6, 6, 7, 5, 7, 5. I've got 11, 19. But it says fight the wounded time. Each time you are hit, roll 1 die. A roll of 1 or 2 indicates that you have been burned and must deduct an extra stamina point. So I've got a 4 skill point advantage for the first one. He rolls a 3. I roll a 12. He's down to 4. He rolls a 4. I roll a 6. He's down to 2. He is unconscious. Next one, he's got 6 skills, which means I've got 5 advantage. So he rolls a 3. I rolled a 2. He's down to 4 stamina. I rolled a 6. He rolls a 6. I rolled a 6, and he's down to 2. So he is a goner as well. Next one is 4 skill point advantage. He rolls a 4. Very good rolling now. It's down to 3. He rolls an 8. I roll a 4. Shouldn't have said that. I'm down to 17, and I roll a die, and I didn't get burnt. He rolls a 9. I roll a 6. That is me hitting him again, and he's down to 1 and is knocked unconscious. Last one, I've got 4 skill point advantage. He rolls a 9. I roll a 9. It's down to 3. He rolls a 9. I roll a 6. And he is down to 1, and he is also unconscious. I defeat them all and go to 380. 83, 80, there we are. You bind the fire warriors with rope, wouldn't that just burn through? And help the staff clear the damage until the police arrive. You may claim as many hero points as the number of fire warriors you captured. Okay. That's a strange way to tell you to get yeah, because I mean you can't get to that until you actually defeat all of them. But I suppose you could kill them accidentally, but then you can't really, because only if you forget. Yeah, never mind. Then you had better change back to Dean Lafayette and make your way to work. If you want to run to work, turn to 301. If you feel it would be quicker to take the subway train, I mean, come on, I can just fly there in a second. Oh well. I think the flying superpower is really wasted on this guy. He doesn't use it at all, does he? I'm not sure where I am in the timeline now, but I'll find out eventually, I guess. So, run 301 or 409 train. Right. I don't know. Exciting things can happen on the train. Exciting things can happen when you run. I'm going to take the subway. So 409. Let's see. The office is only 2 stops away. Surprisingly, you don't have to wait long for a train to arrive. You sit and contemplate a good excuse to give to Mr. White, who is bound to be in a foul mood when you arrive. But a cry interrupts your thoughts. "Help!" you hear from a voice at the other end of the carriage. Oh no, what is it this time? As if in answer, the voice cries, "Pickpocket!" You had better see if you can help, but there will be no opportunity to change into the Silver Crusader. Will you go and help the man, or will you ignore him and concern yourself with getting to work on time for once? That's funny. Okay, so. Interestingly, this is actually going back to 185. The pickpocket, which I also had a choice to go for earlier. This is a little bit strange because it's like I'm going back in my timeline now and then back. Yeah, that's a little bit bizarre. It seems like that's a little bit weird because it's almost because I'm back in my timeline at number 18, exactly the same place. Huh. So, I go down to 185, or you have the option of going to. Okay, that's already got that one. So 301, which is the same as running. So if you run, you wouldn't have got this bit at all. Okay, so I see how I get to pickpocket after all. So maybe that is an important clue then. Okay, so 185. You rush up to a puny-looking, bespectacled man who is shaking with fright. There, he cries, pointing to a man running up through the next carriage. He's stolen my wallet! You race after him. No one else moves. They don't want to get involved. If only you could change into the Silver Crusader. Roll 2 dice and compare the total with your skill score. 10. That is less than my skill score. If the total is less than or equal to your skill, turn to 166. Otherwise, 106. So I'm up successful, and I go to 166. You gain ground and catch up with the pickpocket. As you grab him, he spins round to face you and draws out a knife. You will have to fight him with your bare hands, as you cannot risk revealing yourself as a Silver Crusader, but it doesn't make a difference to fighting, does it? Because I've still got super strength. The other stuff is just the outfit. Right. At least that's how I interpret it. It doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't have superpowers only as a Silver Crusader. It's just about not revealing your superpowers as you are the Silver Crusader. Right, so he is 7-6. I am 11-17. And that means I got a 4 skill point advantage. I need to roll 4. Well, he needs to roll 4 better than me for us to draw a round. He rolls a 4, I roll an 8, he's down to 4. He rolls 3, I roll an 11, he's down to 2, and he's knocked out. And I got a 296, and now I can choose another clue to see if there is. Right, so you go through the man's pockets to retrieve the wallet. He's carrying some peculiar things, no doubt the pickings of his trade. Along with the wallet, you find a cigarette packet which contains a crumpled piece of paper, a tape cassette, and a map. Before handing the pickpocket over to a security guard on the train, you may manage to take one of these from him. Which did you take? The cigarette packet, the cassette tape, or the map? Yes, it's not called a tape cassette, it's the cassette tape, actually. That's a typo in the text there. Right, so the first time it has a tape cassette, that's all it's called, a cassette tape. Right, very important distinction, I must say. Okay. So, cigarette pack. I know the map is probably useless. The tape might be interesting. I'll go with a cigarette pack this time. So, cigarette pack, turn to 423. You study the cigarette packet. It is an ordinary packet of Carlsbergs. Yeah, not Marlboros, but Carlsbergs. But it contains no cigarettes. The piece of paper inside makes no sense at all. A few meaningless words strung together. Is it really meaningless, or perhaps some kind of code? If it is a code, it means nothing to you. If you have ETS, you could take it home and run it through your decoding computer. Ooh. But this will take some time, and you ought to be getting to work. Otherwise, you can save it and give it some thought later. Right, so we have 2 options, really. So we have ETS, 329, ETS, or 86 later. Okay. It's a shame you don't get to actually see the code, because you could have cracked it yourself, but I suppose you're not meant to in this case. Right, so 86 is the one to go for. There we are, 86. Is that something I would have had on my other maps? Yes, it is. Right. 86 is on the next page again. So I suppose I'll just go, yeah, 86, and that is on the next page right here. I'll just move that out of the way. The train stops at Grim Street Station and you get off to go to work. Try to settle into your desk discreetly. No such luck. Lafayette, get in here at once. I'm having a deja vu now. No sooner had you stepped through the office door than Jonah White's booming voice summoned you. I'm not sure, is this meant to be, because basically now you're going through a loop, almost time loop, and I'm not sure if that's actually intended. This could be an error in the text now. Anyway, no sooner had you stepped through the office door than Jonah White's booming voice summoned you. You creep into his office, mumbling scanty excuses for being late yet again. Enough, he yells. What do you think we are running here? A charity? Do you suppose I should be grateful that you even grace us with your presence? Yeah, he should. Very noble of you indeed to even bother coming in at all. Well, I tell you what, I'm feeling kind today. You can have the rest of the day off without pay. And if you're not in first thing tomorrow morning, you can start looking for another job. You slink out of his office with your tail between your legs. How can you tell him what you've been doing? And now you've been suspended for a day. Where will you go? Will you spend the day at Disneyland, the amusement park, or will you go downtown, perhaps to do some shopping? Now, of course, I have been to Disneyland before, and I know that that's where I get the Scarlet Prankster, which gives me a clue. But it would be interesting to see what options, because I don't expect to win this time. I'm actually doing a bit of reconnaissance, I guess. So maybe I should go into town instead and do some shopping, because it will give me the possibility of seeing what else is going on, because that is quite interesting. So I'm going to do some shopping and not do the same that I did last time. So here we are. Strolling downtown, you stop first at the bank to get some cash. Ha, good old days. Next stop is a pizza parlor for a bite to eat. You take a stool facing out across Banner Street, Bruce Banner, of course, and watch the shoppers passing as you eat your pizza. On the far side of the road is a man you recognize. It is Drew Swain, a retired millionaire who made his fortune manufacturing the collection tins used by charities. He steps into a baker's shop. When he comes out, something strange happens. He takes a step forward and suddenly freezes, held like a statue in an off-balance pose. A blue van draws up and obscures your view. When the van drives off, Swain is gone. You saw it with your own eyes, but it happened so quickly that you are now a long way behind the kidnappers, except you can fly at any speed you wish and you could have caught up with them. Will you nip? Again, nipping, yes. Nip to the toilets in the back of the shop and change costume. If so, will you follow the van or ask questions at the bakery? If you are determined to have an afternoon off and to do nothing, turn to 428. Right, I'm going to follow that van. Right, so we have three options: 1, 5, 1, 41, and 428. So van, question, or 428, nothing. So I'm going to nip off to the toilets and change to the Silver Crusader. You race down the street after the van, but by now it is long gone. Unless you have super strength, you are wasting your time. Yes, finally there's an option for super strength there. Turn to 428, which is the same as doing nothing. If you have super strength, turn to 414. There we go. You leap into the air and shoot after the van. Half a kilometer ahead, you see it about to make a turn. You drop down in front of it, forcing it to stop. The driver stares. Say, he greets you. Ain't you that Crusader cat? Well, I sure am glad to meet you. Yes, sirree. tell him you are going to take a look in the back of his van and step round to the back. He follows you, still jabbering. Why, Crusader, baby? Ain't nothing in there but a couple of porkies, a couple of chicken. You open the door and are greeted with a blast which knocks you 3 meters backwards to land in a lifeless heap in the road. Oh, yeah, nearly forgot, chuckles the man. And a laser cannon. That old man trappers sure do have things worked out well. Yes, indeed. You have fallen right into a cleverly executed trap. The van was merely a decoy, and a deadly one at that. Your mistake has cost you your life. The adventure ends here. That is a very interesting insta-death. I didn't realize there were that many of them here. That's great. I'm actually quite pleased to have gone into that trap because that is an interesting way to end the book. Right, so 414, and that is red pen. The end, which means that you do not want to follow that van, really. Okay, so right, so that is a very interesting end to the story of the day, I think. And I'll be back with my next episode of this book someday soon. And of course, it'll be interesting to see how much time I lost on my video now. Hopefully not too much, but of course I will have the sound, I will have the recording of my face, even though I don't have my desk, so I think I'll be okay. And I've got 9 minutes left before it stops again, but I will thank you for watching. Absolutely lovely to see you here, so to speak, metaphorically speaking. I do appreciate it that people watch my videos, and I do have several people I know now that actually watch all my fighting fantasy playthroughs, and that's really nice, and this is what encourages me to keep doing them. So thank you to all of you, and to anyone else who might be stopping by now for the first time. And I will see you again next time when I'm doing my next playthrough of Appointment with F.E.A.R, which is a book I'm really enjoying, I must say. This is well, I do have a few favorite books now. This is one of my favorites, I would say. I really like it. It's I mean, it's, to start with, it's not a setting that would appeal to me as much, but I think it really works well as a game book, and the some of those things that are different about this book makes it quite appealing, I think. The superpowers, the difference between the superpowers and how that steers the adventure in different directions is quite nice, and also a lot of really hard choices where you want to help out, but you can't help everyone, which is quite nice as well, because it's like it teaches you something of the psyche of the superhero as well, which is very clever. And also there's a lot of nipping, which I like. One of Steve Jackson's favorite words, clearly, and one of mine. So I'm looking forward to nipping back into this book next time, and I'll see you then. If you enjoyed this, by the way, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and join me on Patreon if you like as well. It doesn't cost much, and it will actually encourage me and help me to make more videos one day. And yeah, I think that's it for today. So goodbye for now. Bye-bye. And I'll do my fade out.